Rain hammered against the grimy window of the tiny room tucked behind Seoul's Blue Moon nightclub. 6-year-old Amara Harris sat on her worn blanket, coloring a picture of flowers while thunder rumbled overhead. Her mother worked the late shift downstairs, serving drinks to businessmen and tourists who filled the club every night. The music from the club pulsed through the walls, a constant rhythm Amara had learned to ignore. This hidden room, barely larger than a closet, had been home for 2 years. Teresa, the club manager, let them stay here in exchange for her mother working extra hours. It was not much, but it kept them off the streets. Amara hummed softly, choosing a green crayon for the stems. She liked green. It reminded her of the park they sometimes visited on Sunday mornings before the city woke up fully. A crash from outside made her jump. She froze, crayon hovering over paper, listening. Footsteps pounded past the thin wall. Men shouting in Korean then English. Angry voices, urgent and cruel. Find him. He cannot have gotten far. Check every room. More footsteps. Doors slamming. Glass breaking somewhere close. Amara's heart beat faster. She knew to stay quiet when bad things happened in the club. Her mother had taught her well. Sometimes men fought. Sometimes the police came. The rule was always the same. Stay hidden, stay silent. A softer sound caught her attention. A scraping noise like someone sliding along the wall outside her door. Then a thud, followed by ragged breathing. She stared at the door, which was really just a painted panel that looked like part of the wall from the hallway side. Very few people knew this room existed. The breathing got louder. Someone was right outside. Then the panel moved. Just a crack at first, then wider. A man stumbled through, tall and desperate looking. His expensive white dress shirt was torn and soaked with rain. Dark stains spread across the fabric. Blood, Amara realized with a cold feeling in her stomach. His gray suit pants were muddy at the knees. One of his black dress shoes was missing. He leaned against the wall, eyes squeezed shut, breathing hard. His face was pale under the dim light from her single lamp. Brown hair plastered to his forehead with rain and sweat. Amara should have been scared. Her mother would have told her to scream, to run. But something in the man's face stopped her. He looked terrified. Haunted. The voices in the hallway grew louder. Check that storage area. He could be hiding anywhere. The man's eyes snapped open. Blue eyes wide with panic. He saw Amara sitting there on her blanket, a little girl in a maroon dress holding a green crayon. For a moment they just stared at each other. Amara pressed one small finger to her lips. Understanding flashed across his face. He slid down the wall, making himself as small as possible in the corner behind some boxes her mother stored there. The blood on his shirt was bright red, fresh. He pressed his hand against his side, trying to stop the bleeding. Footsteps stopped right outside the hidden door. What is this panel? A rough voice asked in English. Storage only, another voice replied. Old cleaning supplies. Nobody goes in there. Open it anyway. Amara's breath caught. The man in the corner met her eyes. She saw him mouth one word, please. The panel started to slide open. Without thinking, Amara jumped up and positioned herself in front of the opening, blocking the view of the corner. She held her coloring book up like a shield. A hard-faced man in a black suit peered down at her. What are you doing here, kid? I live here, Amara said quietly, her voice steady even though her hands shook. With my mama. She works downstairs. The man glanced around the small space. Amara held her breath. If he stepped inside, if he looked behind the boxes, he would see the bleeding stranger. Anyone else in there? The man demanded. No, sir. Just me and my drawings. He studied her for a long moment. Amara forced herself to look back at him with innocent eyes, the way she looked at teachers when they asked if she had finished her homework. Stay inside and lock this door, the man finally said. Dangerous people around tonight. Yes, sir. He slid the panel shut. Amara waited, not moving, barely breathing. She heard the men walk away down the hall, their voices fading. She counted to 60 the way her mother taught her to count minutes. Then she turned around. The man was still pressed against the wall, one hand over his side, the other covering his mouth to muffle his breathing. He looked at Amara with something like wonder. You saved me, he whispered. Amara walked closer, studying him. Up close, she could see he was younger than she first thought. Maybe around the age of the nice teachers at her school. His clothes were expensive, even torn and bloody. His watch gleamed gold in the lamplight. You are hurt, she observed. Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't know anyone was in here. I was just trying to hide. He winced, adjusting his position. I'm Julian. I'm Amara. She tilted her head. Why are those men chasing you? It's complicated. Business problems. Dangerous business problems. Julian's face was getting paler. I need to stay hidden until my lawyer can help me. But I understand if you want me to leave. I don't want to put you in danger. Amara thought about this. Her mother always said to help people when they needed it. Even when things were hard for them, they still gave spare change to the homeless woman who slept near the subway. They still shared food with the other families in their building. You can stay, Amara decided. But you have to be very quiet. My mama will be back soon, and she gets scared easy when things are wrong. Julian's eyes were wet. Thank you. I promise I won't cause trouble. Amara nodded seriously. She went to her small collection of belongings and pulled out a clean towel. For the blood, she explained, handing it to him. He took it gratefully, pressing it against his side. You are very brave for someone so small. Mama says brave is just doing the right thing even when you are scared. Amara returned to her blanket and picked up her crayons. Are you very scared? Yes, Julian admitted. Very scared. Me too, Amara said. But maybe if we are both scared together, it is not so bad. She went back to coloring her flowers, but kept one eye on the stranger in the corner. Outside, the storm continued to rage, and somewhere in the building, dangerous men were still searching. But in this small hidden room, a little girl and a desperate billionaire formed an unlikely alliance. Julian watched her color with steady hands despite everything happening around them. What are you drawing? He asked softly. Flowers. For my mama. She likes flowers, but we cannot buy them. Amara selected a red crayon. So I draw them instead. Something in Julian's chest tightened. This child, living in a room barely fit for storage, hiding behind a nightclub, sharing her space with a stranger covered in blood. And she was drawing flowers for her mother. They are beautiful, he said quietly. Amara smiled a little. When those men leave, you should see a doctor. You are bleeding a lot. I will. As soon as it is safe. Julian leaned his head back against the wall, exhaustion and pain washing over him. Thank you, Amara. You might have just saved my life. You are welcome, she replied simply and went back to her drawing. Outside the hidden room, the nightclub music continued. The storm battered the windows. Dangerous men prowled the halls. But inside, in the soft glow of a single lamp, a bond was forming that would change everything. Would you keep hiding a stranger if it meant protecting someone innocent? Comment below and subscribe to see how this dangerous night unfolds. Will Amara's mother discover the truth? Can Julian survive until help arrives? Simone Harris's feet ached as she climbed the back stairs to the hidden room. It was past 2 in the morning, and the Blue Moon nightclub was finally closing down. Her blue waitress uniform smelled like cigarette smoke and spilled liquor. Tips tonight had been decent but not great. She counted the bills in her apron pocket as she walked. Enough for groceries and maybe new shoes for Amara. The old ones were getting too small. She was thinking about breakfast when she slid open the hidden panel and stepped inside. Her daughter sat on the floor, unusually still. And there, in the corner, was a man. Simone's heart stopped. Amara, get behind me right now, she said, her voice low and dangerous. She positioned herself between her child and the stranger. Mama, wait, Amara said quickly. He is hurt. Bad men were chasing him. Simone's eyes adjusted to the dim light. She took in the expensive clothes, the blood-soaked towel pressed against his side, the exhaustion in his face. The man held up one hand in a peaceful gesture. Please don't be afraid, Julian said quietly. Your daughter saved my life tonight. I mean you no harm. You have 10 seconds to explain why you are in my home before I call security, Simone said. Her hands were shaking, but her voice stayed steady. Years of dealing with difficult customers had taught her to hide fear. Julian shifted, wincing with pain. My name is Julian Prescott. I run a technology company. Tonight, some business associates tried to kill me over a contract dispute. I escaped and hid in this building. Those men are still looking for me. I didn't know anyone was in this room. I just needed somewhere to hide. Your daughter. He paused, looking at Amara with something like awe. She protected me when they came searching. She could have given me away, but she didn't. Simone looked at her daughter. Amara nodded seriously. There were 3 men, Mama. They looked in here, but I stood in front of him. I told them I was alone. The fear that rushed through Simone was overwhelming. Amara, that was so dangerous. What if they had hurt you? But they didn't, Amara said simply. And he needed help. Simone turned back to Julian. She studied him more carefully now. The expensive watch. The quality of his clothes despite their ruined state. The way he spoke, educated and careful. This was not some random criminal. This was someone important running from something worse. How badly are you hurt? She asked. Knife wound, I think. Not deep, but it won't stop bleeding. Julian's face was pale, his lips tinged blue. I need medical attention, but I cannot risk going to a hospital yet. They will be watching all the hospitals. Who are they exactly? Business rivals. Men I trusted with a major deal. They decided taking me out was easier than honoring the contract. Julian's laugh was bitter. Turns out $100 million makes people do terrible things. Simone absorbed this. $100 million. She made that in tips on a good night and felt rich. This man's world was incomprehensibly different from hers. I can pay you, Julian added quickly. Whatever you want. Just let me stay hidden until morning. My lawyer is working on getting me protection. I just need to survive the night. Simone should have said no. Should have thrown him out, protected her daughter from this danger. But she looked at Amara, who was watching the bleeding stranger with concern in her dark eyes. She thought about the homeless woman they fed. About the neighbors they helped even when they had barely enough themselves. Her mother had raised her to believe that kindness mattered. That helping people in need was never wrong. Keep your money for now, Simone said, surprising herself. But you are not moving until I look at that wound. Amara, get the first aid kit from under the sink. Really? Julian stared at her. You are going to help me? I'm going to stop you from bleeding all over my floor, Simone corrected. After that, we will figure out what comes next. But if those men come back and find you here, you leave immediately. I will not put my daughter at risk. Are we clear? Absolutely clear, Julian agreed. Thank you. You have no idea what this means. Amara brought over the small first aid kit. Simone knelt beside Julian, carefully peeling back the bloody towel. The wound underneath was not as bad as she feared. A slash across his ribs, deep enough to bleed heavily but not life-threatening if cleaned properly. This is going to hurt, she warned. I can handle it. Simone worked quickly, cleaning the wound with antiseptic, butterfly closing the edges, wrapping clean bandages around his chest. Her hands were steady and competent. She had patched up enough kitchen accidents and playground injuries to know basic wound care. Julian hissed in pain but did not pull away. You are good at this. My husband was a construction worker before he died, Simone said quietly. Came home with cuts and bruises all the time. I learned to handle it. She secured the bandage with tape. That should hold for now, but you really do need a doctor. In the morning, Julian promised. Once my lawyer arranges protection. He met her eyes. I know this is asking a lot. You don't know me. You have every reason to turn me away. But I swear I will make this right. Whatever you need, whatever I can do. Simone sat back on her heels. What I need is for my daughter to be safe. That is all that matters to me. I understand completely. Julian looked at Amara, who had settled back on her blanket with her crayons. She is remarkable. So brave. She is everything, Simone agreed. They sat in silence for a moment. Outside, the storm was easing but rain still pattered against the window. The nightclub below had gone quiet. Why do you live here? Julian asked carefully. Behind a nightclub in a hidden room? Simone tensed. That is none of your business. I'm sorry. You are right. I'm just trying to understand how someone as clearly capable as you ended up in a place like this. Life happened, Simone said shortly. My husband died 3 years ago. Construction accident. No insurance, no savings. I had bills, a daughter to feed. Teresa gave me work and let us stay here. It's not perfect, but it keeps us off the streets. She met his eyes defiantly. I do what I have to do. I respect that, Julian said quietly. More than you know. Amara yawned widely, her small hand covering her mouth. The late hour and stress were catching up with her. Time for bed, Simone told her daughter. She helped Amara change into pajamas, a soft green nightgown that was getting too short. Tucked her into the narrow bed in the corner. Is Julian going to be okay? Amara whispered. I think so, baby. Try to sleep now. Okay, Mama. Amara's eyes were already closing. Simone kissed her forehead and returned to where Julian sat. She grabbed a spare blanket and handed it to him. You can sleep there. If you need anything during the night, wake me quietly. Do not leave this room for any reason. I won't, Julian promised. Simone, thank you. Truly. You did not have to help me. No, I didn't, Simone agreed. She thought about what Amara had said earlier. About being scared together making it less bad. But maybe doing the right thing is worth the risk. She made herself a small space on the floor near Amara's bed, using her jacket as a pillow. The room was cramped with 3 people instead of 2, but they made it work. As Simone closed her eyes, she wondered what morning would bring. If those dangerous men would return. If Julian's lawyer would really come through. If this one choice to show kindness would cost her everything. But watching her daughter sleep peacefully, the stranger in the corner keeping his own quiet vigil, Simone felt something she had not felt in a long time. Oh, maybe, just maybe, this night of terror would turn into something better. Something none of them could have imagined when the storm began. The hours passed slowly in the hidden room. Simone lay awake, listening to every sound from the hallway. Footsteps. Voices. The groan of old pipes and settling wood. Each noise made her heart race, wondering if the men who hunted Julian would return. Across the small space, Julian shifted position carefully, trying not to disturb his injured side. Simone could hear his breathing, measured and controlled despite what must be considerable pain. "Can't sleep," she whispered. "Too much adrenaline," Julian admitted softly. "And too scared to close my eyes. What if they come back?" "Then we handle it," Simone replied, though she had no idea how. "But worrying yourself sick won't help anything. You sound like my mother. She died when I was young, but I remember her saying things like that." Julian's voice carried old grief. "She would have liked you. Practical. Strong." Simone considered this. "Tell me about her." "She was a teacher. Literature. Used to read to me every night even when I got too old for it. Said stories mattered, that they taught us how to be human." Julian paused. "She got sick when I was 12. Cancer. Gone in 6 months. My father buried himself in work afterward. I barely saw him until I went to college." "I'm sorry," Simone said quietly. "Losing a parent that young must have been terrible." "It was. But it taught me to value the time we have. To not take people for granted." Julian shifted again. "Your daughter said your husband died. Can I ask what happened?" Simone was quiet for a moment. She rarely talked about Marcus. The pain was still too fresh even after 3 years. But something about this strange night made honesty feel necessary. "Construction accident," she said finally. "He was working on a high-rise downtown. Safety equipment failed. He fell 6 stories." The words came out flat, emotionless. She had told this story enough times that it had lost its sharp edges. By the time they got him to the hospital, it was too late. "That's terrible," Julian said. "I'm so sorry." "Me too." Simone blinked back tears. "Marcus was a good man. Kind. Funny. He would sing to Amara every night, these silly made-up songs about princesses and dragons. She still asked for them sometimes. I try, but I cannot remember all the words. She must miss him a lot. Every day. But she is strong. Stronger than me sometimes." Simone looked over at her daughter's sleeping form. "She keeps me going when things get hard." They fell silent again. Outside, the rain had stopped completely. Dawn would come soon. "Can I ask you something?" Julian said after a while. "I suppose. Why did you really agree to help me? You could have called security, had me removed. Protected yourself and Amara. Instead you bandaged my wounds and let me stay. Why?" Simone thought about this carefully. "Because Amara made a choice to help you. And I trust her judgment more than my own sometimes. She saw something in you worth protecting." She paused. "And because we know what it feels like to be desperate. To need help and have nowhere to turn. You are one of the kindest people I have ever met," Julian said quietly. "Most people in my world would have handed me over without a second thought. Your world sounds lonely." "It is. Very lonely." Julian's voice carried a weight of isolation. "When you have money, you never know if people care about you or your bank account. Every relationship feels transactional. Every friendship conditional. I have business partners, employees, investors. But actual friends? People who would help me without calculating what they get in return." He laughed bitterly. "I could count those on one hand and have fingers left over." Simone considered this. Money does not buy everything then. No. It buys comfort and security and opportunities. But it does not buy trust. Or loyalty. Or love. Julian was quiet for a moment. "Do you know what my first thought was when those men pulled knives on me tonight? Not fear for myself. I thought, there is nobody who will really miss me if I die. My lawyer will file paperwork. My company will find a new CEO. But nobody will cry at my funeral." "That is the saddest thing I have ever heard," Simone said honestly. "It is the truth though. I built an empire but forgot to build a life." A small sound made them both stop talking. Amara was stirring in her sleep, making soft noises. Simone moved quickly to her daughter's side. Sure, baby. I'm here. Amara's eyes opened, confused in the dim light. Mama? I had a bad dream. Just a dream. You are safe. Simone stroked her daughter's hair gently. Go back to sleep. Is Julian still here? Yes, he is still here. Amara's gaze found Julian in the corner. Are the bad men gone? For now, Julian answered softly. You are very brave, Amara. Not many people would have helped a stranger the way you did. Mama says we help people who need it. That is what good people do. Your mama is very wise. Amara yawned. Will you still be here when I wake up? If it is okay with your mother, yes. Good. Amara's eyes were already closing again. I want to show you my other drawings. I made one of a dragon yesterday. I would love to see it, Julian promised. Simone waited until Amara's breathing evened out into sleep again. Then she returned to her spot on the floor. She likes you, Simone observed. The feeling is mutual. She is something special. She is everything to me, Simone said fiercely. If anything happened to her because I let you stay here, I would never forgive myself either, Julian interrupted. I promise you, Simone. As soon as the sun comes up and I can reach my lawyer safely, I will get protection and get out of your lives. You have already done more than anyone could ask. But even as he said it, Julian realized he did not want to disappear from their lives. In this cramped hidden room with a struggling waitress and her brave daughter, he had found something he had been missing for years. Connection. Humanity. Purpose beyond profit margins and stock prices. What will you do? Simone asked. After you are safe, I mean. Go back to your company? Your life. Julian thought about this. I don't know. Tonight changed something. Made me see how empty everything has been. Maybe it is time to change that. Change is hard, Simone said. But sometimes it is necessary. Is that what you are doing? Changing your life. Trying to, Simone admitted. Every day I work at that club I tell myself it is temporary. That I will find something better, something that lets me spend more time with Amara. But temporary has turned into 2 years and I'm still here. What would you do? If you could do anything? Simone laughed quietly. I used to want to be a teacher. Like your mother. I love working with kids. But life got in the way. Marriage, pregnancy, bills. Dreams got smaller and smaller until they disappeared. Dreams don't have to disappear, Julian said. They can just wait until the time is right. Maybe, Simone allowed. But time keeps moving and we move with it whether we are ready or not. The conversation drifted into comfortable silence. Outside the hidden room, the nightclub was completely quiet now. The city beyond was starting to wake up. Soon dawn would break and with it, decisions would have to be made. But for now, in these last hours of darkness, 3 people who should never have crossed paths shared space and stories. A billionaire learning what really mattered. A waitress remembering her dreams. A little girl sleeping peacefully, unaware of how her simple act of kindness was changing everything. Julian closed his eyes, exhaustion finally overcoming fear. For the first time in years, he felt like someone actually cared if he lived or died. Not because of his money or his company, but because of who he was as a person. Simone watched over both of them, her daughter and the stranger she had chosen to protect. Morning would bring new challenges. But tonight they had survived together. And sometimes survival was enough. Pale sunlight filtered through the grimy window when Simone woke. Her body ached from sleeping on the hard floor, but she pushed the discomfort aside. Amara was still asleep, curled up with her worn stuffed rabbit. Julian sat in the corner, awake and alert despite the exhaustion in his eyes. Good morning, he said quietly. Morning. Simone sat up, wincing as her back protested. How is the wound? Sore but the bleeding stopped. Your bandaging held well. Julian checked his phone, which he had been keeping off to avoid being tracked. I need to turn this on and call my lawyer. But once I do, there is a chance they can trace the signal. Then make it fast, Simone advised. Tell him where you are, turn it off. Julian nodded and powered up the phone. It buzzed immediately with dozens of missed calls and messages. He ignored them all and dialed one number. Marcus, it is me, he said when someone answered. I'm safe. I need you to get me protection and handle the situation legally. I have evidence of their attempted breach of contract and the violence. Can you mobilize our lawyers? Good. I am hiding at the Blue Moon nightclub in Gangnam. Back room, 2nd floor. Send security, discreet security within the hour. He paused, listening. Yes, I am certain. And Marcus? I need you to arrange something else too. Simone listened as Julian gave quiet instructions about legal matters she did not fully understand. Corporate lawyers and police involvement and protection orders. It sounded complicated and expensive and far beyond her world. He ended the call and shut off the phone immediately. Done. My lawyer is handling everything. He is sending private security to escort me out safely, and we are pressing charges against the men who attacked me. With the evidence I have, they will be arrested today. So you are safe, Simone said. Getting there. Julian met her eyes. My lawyer is also arranging something for you. Payment for helping me and for putting yourselves at risk. Simone stiffened. I did not help you for money. I know that. That is exactly why I want to give it to you. Julian's expression was earnest. Please, Simone. Let me do this. You saved my life. Your daughter saved my life. The least I can do is make sure you don't have to work in that nightclub anymore. I need to work, Simone said sharply. I have bills. Rent. Food to buy. Then let me cover those bills while you find better work. Or. Julian hesitated. I could offer you a position in my company. Administrative work. Project coordination. Something that pays well and has normal hours so you can be with Amara. Simone stared at him. You don't even know if I am qualified. You managed to keep a stranger alive through the night while protecting your daughter and staying calm under pressure. You are more qualified than half the people I employ. Julian leaned forward. I am not offering charity. I am offering a fair trade. You gave me something invaluable last night. Let me return the favor. Every instinct told Simone to refuse. Pride, fear, the certainty that accepting would somehow cost more than she could afford. But then she thought about Amara, sleeping peacefully. About new shoes and healthy food and maybe a real home instead of a hidden room behind a nightclub. How much? She asked quietly. Julian named a figure that made her head spin. 3 times what she made at the club. With benefits. And he would pay for an apartment too, something safe and clean. That is too much, Simone protested. It is exactly what the position would pay anyone else, Julian countered. I am not giving you special treatment because of last night. I am offering you fair compensation for legitimate work. All I ask is that you accept with the same courage you showed when you decided to help me. Simone looked at her daughter. Thought about better schools, proper medical care, a childhood that did not involve hiding in rooms while dangerous men searched the building. Okay, she said finally. I accept. With gratitude. What would you do if a stranger offered to change your life completely? Would you take the risk? Subscribe and share your thoughts below to see what happens when their worlds collide even further. The relief on Julian's face was profound. Thank you. You won't regret this. I better not, Simone said, but she smiled a little. Amara woke up then, stretching and rubbing her eyes. Is it morning already? Yes, baby. And we have some news. Simone helped her daughter sit up. Julian's friends are coming to help him soon. And he offered Mama a new job. A better job. Amara's face lit up. Really? Does that mean we can get a new place? Maybe. We will see. Simone did not want to promise too much too soon. That would be good. I like this room, but it is very small. Amara looked at Julian. Will you be okay now? Will those bad men leave you alone? I will be fine, Julian assured her. And yes, the bad men will be dealt with properly. No more running or hiding. Good. That means you can come visit us in our new place. Amara said this as simple fact, as if there was no question about whether they would remain in each other's lives. Julian and Simone exchanged glances. Neither had thought that far ahead. But the idea settled between them with unexpected warmth. I would like that very much, Julian said softly. They spent the next hour in quiet conversation. Julian told Amara about his company, simplifying the technology they developed into terms a 6-year-old could understand. Amara showed him her drawings, explaining each one in elaborate detail. Simone made simple breakfast from the few supplies she kept in the room, crackers and juice and some fruit. This is nice, Julian said, accepting the modest meal with gratitude. Better than the expensive restaurants I usually eat at. Because it is shared, Amara informed him seriously. Mama says food tastes better when you share it with people you care about. Your mama is very wise. A knock at the hidden panel made them all freeze. Then a voice called out, calm and professional, Mr. Prescott? I am with Blackstone Security. Your lawyer sent us. Julian exhaled in relief. That is my team. He stood carefully, his injured side making him move slowly. Simone, Amara, thank you. For everything. I mean that. You are welcome, Simone said. And good luck with everything. I will be in touch about the job. Expect a call from my office tomorrow with details. Julian paused at the panel. And Amara? Thank you for being brave. You are going to do amazing things in your life. Bye, Julian, Amara said, waving. Come visit soon. I will, he promised. Then he was gone, escorted away by professional security guards in dark suits. The hidden panel slid shut behind him. The room felt emptier without him. Quieter. Simone and Amara sat together on the blanket, processing everything that had happened in the past 12 hours. Mama, do you think he will really call? Amara asked. I think so, Simone said. He seemed like a man who keeps his promises. Good. I liked him. He was nice. Amara leaned against her mother. And maybe the new job will be good too. Maybe it will, Simone agreed, allowing herself to hope. Outside, the city continued its busy morning. People rushed to work, students headed to school, vendors opened their shops. The world kept turning, indifferent to the small miracle that had occurred in a hidden room behind a nightclub. But for Simone and Amara Harris, everything had changed. A stranger bleeding in the rain had become a bridge to a different future. A little girl's courage had opened doors they did not know existed. Now they just had to walk through them. 3 days passed before Julian's promised call came. 3 days of Simone working her regular shifts at the Blue Moon, wondering if the whole thing had been some strange dream. But on Thursday morning her phone rang with an unfamiliar number. Miss Harris? This is Jennifer Park from Prescott Technologies. Mr. Prescott asked me to contact you regarding a position in our company. Simone's heart raced. Yes. He mentioned that. Wonderful. Could you come in tomorrow for a formal interview? Just a formality, really. Mr. Prescott has already approved your hiring, but we do need to complete the paperwork. The interview was held in a gleaming office tower downtown, so different from the dark nightclub that Simone felt out of place immediately. But Jennifer, a kind woman in her 40s, put her at ease quickly. Mr. Prescott speaks very highly of you, Jennifer said, reviewing Simone's hastily assembled resume. He was quite insistent that we find the right position for your skills. I don't have much formal experience, Simone admitted. You have life experience. That counts for a lot. Jennifer smiled. We are placing you in our community outreach division. You would coordinate charitable programs, work with local organizations, help distribute our grant funds. Does that interest you? It sounded perfect. Working with people, helping communities, making a real difference. Very much. Excellent. Your salary will be what Mr. Prescott specified, with full benefits including health insurance. We can also arrange for a company apartment if you need housing assistance. Simone blinked back tears. That would help tremendously. Then it is settled. Can you start Monday? Everything moved quickly after that. By Sunday, Simone and Amara were moving out of the hidden room behind the Blue Moon and into a bright 2-bedroom apartment in a safe neighborhood. The place had actual windows with sunlight. A kitchen with appliances that worked. A bathroom that did not share walls with a nightclub. Amara ran from room to room, delighted by the space. Mama, look. I have my own room. With a real bed. Simone stood in the middle of the living room, overwhelmed. This was more than she had dared hope for in years. More than she had thought possible. Her phone buzzed with a text message. Julian, how is the new place? Simone smiled and typed back, perfect. Thank you. Julian, you earned it. How does Amara like it? Simone, she is thrilled. Hasn't stopped smiling since we got here. Julian, good. You both deserve to smile. By the way, I am out of the hospital. Clean bill of health. The men who attacked me are in custody. It is over. Simone, I am so glad you are safe. Julian, thanks to you. Listen, I know you start work tomorrow, but I was wondering if I could take you and Amara to dinner this week? To celebrate new beginnings? Simone hesitated. This felt like more than just gratitude. It felt like the start of something else entirely. Something that both scared and excited her. Simone, we would like that. Julian, great. How about Wednesday? I will pick you up at 6. The days that followed fell into a new rhythm. Simone started her job and discovered she was good at it. Really good. Her experiences struggling to survive gave her insight into what communities actually needed. Her proposals for grant distributions were thoughtful and practical. Her co-workers respected her. Her boss praised her work. Amara enrolled in a better school, one with art programs and music classes and teachers who cared. She made friends quickly, her natural warmth drawing other children to her. Every evening she came home bursting with stories about her day. And Julian became part of their lives in a way none of them had planned. Wednesday dinner turned into Friday coffee. Weekend visits to the park turned into helping Amara with her homework. Julian, who had built a technology empire but never had a real family, found himself drawn into their small world with surprising ease. He taught Amara to play chess. She taught him to draw flowers. Simone watched them together and felt something warm settle in her chest. "He is lonely," Amara observed one night as Simone tucked her into bed. "Julian, I mean. He smiles, but his eyes are sad sometimes." "I think you are right," Simone agreed. "He has money and success but not much else. We should be his family then," Amara decided with the simple logic of childhood. "Everyone needs family." Simone kissed her daughter's forehead. "It is not that simple, baby." "Why not? We like him. He likes us. Family is just people who care about each other, right?" Out of the mouths of children, Simone thought. "You are very wise for 6 years old." "I know," Amara said without modesty. "So can Julian be our family?" "Maybe," Simone allowed. "We will see how things go." But things were already going somewhere, whether Simone was ready to admit it or not. Julian found excuses to stop by their apartment. Bringing takeout for dinner. Dropping off books he thought Amara would enjoy. Asking Simone's opinion on community programs his company should fund. They talked for hours. About everything and nothing. About childhood memories and future dreams. About loss and hope and the strange path that had brought them together. One evening, 3 weeks after that rainy night, Julian showed up with groceries and offered to cook dinner. Simone watched him move around her kitchen, this billionaire CEO chopping vegetables and explaining a pasta recipe his mother used to make. "You cook?" she asked, amused. "Badly, but yes. I lived alone for years. Had to learn or starve." Julian glanced over at her. "Does it bother you? Me being here so often?" "No," Simone said honestly. "It is nice. Having another adult to talk to. Amara loves the attention. And..." She paused, choosing words carefully. "I like your company. I like yours too." Julian set down the knife and faced her directly. "Simone, I know this is complicated. I know we come from very different worlds. But these past few weeks have been the happiest I have been in years. Being here with you and Amara feels more like home than anywhere I have ever lived." Simone's heart beat faster. "Julian, I am not asking for anything," he said quickly. "I just wanted you to know that this matters to me. You matter to me. Both of you." Before Simone could respond, Amara burst into the kitchen wearing her favorite green dress. "Julian, can we play checkers after dinner? I have been practicing and I think I can beat you now." The serious moment broke. Julian laughed and ruffled her hair. "You are on. But I warn you, I have been practicing too." They ate dinner together at the small kitchen table. Simple pasta with sauce, nothing fancy. But it tasted like home. Like family. Like the beginning of something real and lasting. Later, after Amara went to bed, Julian and Simone sat on the couch drinking tea. The apartment was quiet, peaceful. "Thank you," Julian said softly, "for letting me be part of this. For not keeping me at arm's length because of who I am or what I have." "You are not what you have," Simone replied. "You are who you are. And who you are is someone worth knowing." Julian's eyes were bright. "Nobody has ever said anything like that to me before. Then people have been looking at you wrong." Simone set down her tea. "I see you, Julian. Not the CEO. Not the billionaire. Just you. The man who plays chess with my daughter. Who cooks dinner in my kitchen. Who survived something terrible and came out the other side wanting to be better." "I see you too," Julian said. "The strongest person I have ever met. Raising a child alone, working impossible hours, never complaining. Never giving up. You are remarkable, Simone." They sat in comfortable silence, the space between them charged with possibilities. Neither ready to name what was happening but both feeling it grow. Outside, the city hummed with its endless activity. But inside this small apartment, 3 people who had found each other in the strangest circumstances were building something precious. A sanctuary. A home. A family. And it was just the beginning. 2 months into her new job, Simone had almost started to believe life could be simple. Good even. The past felt distant, nightmares replaced by steady routines and small joys. Then Teresa called. "Simone, honey, you need to come to the club. Now. Some men are here asking questions about that night." Simone's blood ran cold. "What night?" "You know what night. 2 months ago when all those security types were crawling around. These new guys are official looking. Lawyers or investigators or something. They are asking if anyone saw a man hiding in the building." "I will be there in 20 minutes, Simone said. She called Julian immediately. He answered on the first ring, his voice tight with worry. I heard. My lawyer just contacted me. The men who attacked me are trying to build a defense, claiming I provoked them, that I was trespassing illegally, anything to reduce their charges. Their legal team is investigating my whereabouts that night, trying to find witnesses who might support their version. What do I tell them? Simone asked. The truth. You saw nothing. You were in your room with Amara all night. You had no idea anyone was in the building until security cleared them out. Julian paused. But Simone, if they press you, if they threaten you in any way, you tell them everything. I will not let you risk yourself or Amara to protect me. I'm not worried about me. I am worried about you. I have lawyers. Good ones. But you and Amara are more important than any court case. Promise me you will be careful. Simone promised and arranged for a neighbor to watch Amara after school. Then she headed to the Blue Moon. The club looked different in daylight. Seedier, more worn. Two men in expensive suits sat at the bar with Teresa, who looked unhappy. Simone Harris? One of them asked, standing as she approached. I am Robert Chong, attorney for Kim Enterprises. We represent the men who were falsely accused of attacking Julian Prescott. Falsely accused? Simone kept her voice neutral. We have evidence suggesting Mr. Prescott initiated the confrontation and then fabricated an assault claim to damage our client's business reputation. Chong pulled out a tablet. We know Mr. Prescott was in this building that night. We have security footage of him entering. But the footage shows him leaving with private security hours later, uninjured and walking steadily. That contradicts his claim of a serious knife wound. Simone's mind raced. The footage must have been taken after she bandaged him, after the bleeding stopped. Of course he looked fine by then. I don't know anything about that, she said carefully. You were living in the building at the time, correct? In a hidden room on the second floor? Yes. Did you see Mr. Prescott that night? No. It was not quite a lie. She had not seen him enter. Only after he was already hiding in her room. Chong studied her face. Ms. Harris, do you currently work for Prescott Technologies? Yes. Interesting timing. Mr. Prescott hired you shortly after that night. Gave you an apartment. Substantial salary increase. Some might see that as payment for your silence. Anger flared in Simone's chest. Mr. Prescott hired me because I am qualified. The apartment is company housing, available to all employees. And my salary is standard for my position. Can you prove you had no contact with Mr. Prescott that night? Can you prove I did? Simone met his eyes steadily. Because unless you have evidence, I think we are done here. Chong smiled coldly. We will be in touch, Ms. Harris. I suggest you think carefully about where your loyalties lie. Obstruction of justice carries serious penalties. After they left, Teresa pulled Simone aside. What really happened that night? And do not lie to me, honey. I have known you too long. Simone hesitated. Teresa had given her work when nobody else would. Had let her and Amara stay in that hidden room. She deserved honesty. Julian was hiding in my room. He was hurt badly. I bandaged him and kept him safe until his security arrived. That is all. Teresa sighed. You should have told me. I know. I am sorry. And now those lawyers are circling like sharks. Teresa shook her head. Simone, I care about you. But if this turns legal, if they subpoena me, I have to tell the truth. The club cannot afford to get tangled in some corporate lawsuit. I understand. Just, give me time to figure this out. Simone left feeling shaken. She texted Julian to update him and received an immediate response asking her to meet him at a coffee shop near her office. He was waiting at a corner table, worry etched into his face. He stood when she arrived, then seemed uncertain whether to hug her or keep distance. They settled on an awkward hand squeeze. I am so sorry, Julian said as they sat. This is my fault. I should have anticipated they would try something like this. It is not your fault that they are criminals trying to avoid consequences, Simone countered. But Julian, if this goes to court, if I have to testify, then you tell the truth. All of it. I mean that. Julian leaned forward. I will not let you commit perjury for me. If it comes to that, we explain exactly what happened. You gave emergency medical care to someone in danger. That is not a crime. But it might be enough to create reasonable doubt for them. Your lawyers said the case was solid. Cases can be rebuilt. But I cannot rebuild my conscience if something happens to you or Amara because of me. Julian's eyes were intense. You matter more than any court case. Than my reputation. Than all of it. Simone felt her throat tighten. When did this happen? When did we become so important to each other? I think it started the moment your daughter put her finger to her lips and decided to protect a bleeding stranger. Julian smiled slightly. Or maybe when you chose kindness over safety. Or maybe it has been building every day since then. They sat in silence for a moment, the weight of unspoken feelings heavy between them. What do we do now? Simone finally asked. We wait. See if they actually have grounds to push this investigation or if they are just fishing for leverage. Julian reached across the table and took her hand. But whatever happens, we handle it together. Okay. Okay, Simone agreed. That evening, Simone picked Amara up from the neighbor's apartment and tried to act normal. But Amara, perceptive as always, noticed her distraction. Is something wrong, Mama? Just work stuff, baby. Nothing for you to worry about. Is it about Julian? Is he in trouble again? Simone hesitated. She had never hidden difficult truths from her daughter, but she also did not want to scare her unnecessarily. Some people are asking questions about the night we helped him. But it is going to be okay. Julian has good lawyers and we told the truth. That is all we can do. Amara nodded seriously. The truth is important. Even when it is hard. Yes, it is. And we will tell it if we have to. But for now, we just keep living our lives and being good people. Okay. Amara seemed satisfied with this answer. She returned to her homework, leaving Simone to her worried thoughts. Julian called later that night after Amara was in bed. My lawyer spoke with their legal team. They are bluffing. No real evidence, just trying to shake us into revealing something useful. But he advised us to be cautious. No private meetings that could be misconstrued. Limited contact until this blows over. Limited contact, Simone repeated, her heart sinking. I hate it too. But it is temporary. Just until the case goes to trial and their defense strategy fails. Julian sounded miserable. I'm sorry, Simone, for bringing this chaos into your life. You brought other things too, she said softly. Good things. Important things. Do not apologize for that. They talked for another hour, neither wanting to end the call. When they finally said goodnight, Simone lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about how quickly life could shift from peaceful to complicated. But she also thought about Julian's words. That she mattered more than his court case. That they would handle this together. Whatever came next, they would face it. Just like they had faced that first terrible night. With courage. With honesty. With faith that doing the right thing would be enough. The investigation dragged on for 3 weeks. 3 weeks of lawyers, depositions and mounting pressure. Julian followed his lawyer's advice and kept his distance. No visits to Simone's apartment. No dinners together. Just brief professional texts about work matters. Amara noticed immediately. Why does Julian not come over anymore? He is very busy with work, baby. He was always busy before and still came over. Amara's eyes were too knowing. Did something bad happen? Simone could not lie to her daughter. Some people are causing trouble for Julian. We have to be careful for a while until it gets fixed. The men from that night? Yes. Amara thought about this. But we did not do anything wrong. We helped someone who needed it. You are right. We did not do anything wrong. But sometimes people twist the truth to help themselves. Simone pulled Amara close. It will work out. We just have to be patient. But patience was hard when Simone missed Julian's presence in their lives. Missed his laugh, his thoughtful conversations, the way he made Amara light up with attention. The apartment felt emptier without him. She threw herself into work, organizing a new community program for underprivileged children. But even that reminded her of Julian, of conversations they had shared about making real differences in people's lives. Then one evening her phone rang. Julian's voice was strained. I need to see you. I know we are supposed to keep distance, but I cannot do this anymore. Can I come over? Of course. Is everything okay? No. But it will be. I need to talk to you. Really talk. He arrived 20 minutes later, looking exhausted. His usually perfect appearance was disheveled, his expensive blue shirt wrinkled, his hair uncombed. You look terrible, Simone said, concern overwhelming caution. I feel terrible. This whole situation, the investigation, being away from you and Amara. It is making me realize things I have been avoiding. Julian ran a hand through his hair. Can we talk? Somewhere private? Amara was already in bed, so Simone led him to the small balcony off the living room. The night air was cool, the city lights spread below them. What is going on? Simone asked gently. Julian leaned against the railing. Today in my lawyer's office they were coaching me on testimony. telling me what to say, how to present myself. And I realized this is what my entire life has been. Carefully managed, strategically planned. Every word, every action calculated for maximum benefit. I have been playing a role for so long that I forgot what being real feels like. Julian. Then they told me to stop seeing you. Said it looked bad, like I was influencing a potential witness. And I agreed. Because that is what you do in my world. You make the strategic choice. You protect your interests. He turned to face her. But all I could think was how much I hated not seeing you. Not hearing Amara's laugh. Not sitting in your kitchen talking about nothing and everything. How empty my penthouse feels compared to this small apartment. Simone's heart raced. You are saying? I am saying I am falling in love with you. With both of you. With the life we were building before this legal mess. Julian's voice broke slightly. And I know the timing is terrible. I know this makes everything more complicated. But I cannot keep pretending I do not feel what I feel. The words hung in the air between them. Simone had known on some level that they were heading toward this. But hearing it said out loud made it real. Undeniable. My lawyer thinks I am crazy, Julian continued. Coming here. Saying this. But I need you to know. Before the trial. Before whatever happens next. I need you to know that you changed my life. That meeting you and Amara was not just luck or coincidence. It was the universe giving me one more chance to get things right. Simone stepped closer to him. Can I tell you something? About the night you showed up in our room? Of course. I was terrified. Not just of those men but of what helping you might cost. We had so little. One wrong move could have put us on the streets. But Amara looked at you and saw someone who needed help, and she did not hesitate. She just acted from her heart. Simone paused. I have spent 3 years since Marcus died just surviving. Working, paying bills, getting through each day. Somewhere along the way I stopped believing in anything bigger. Stopped hoping for anything beyond basic survival. And now? Julian asked softly. Now I remember what it feels like to hope. To dream. To think maybe there is more to life than just getting by. Simone met his eyes. You did that. You and your kindness and your awkward cooking and your chess games with my daughter. You reminded me what living actually means. Julian reached out, his hand gentle on her cheek. I do not want to be a complication in your life. I do not want to bring you more trouble. Too late. You already did. Simone smiled through sudden tears. But you also brought joy. And laughter. And the first time in years that I felt like maybe, just maybe, good things could still happen. Can I kiss you? Julian whispered. I know it is complicated and my timing is awful and there are 100 reasons why we should wait. Stop talking, Simone said and kissed him. It was soft and sweet and full of everything they had been holding back for weeks. When they finally pulled apart, both were smiling. I love you, Julian said again. I need you to know that is real. Whatever my lawyers say, whatever strategic concerns exist, what I feel for you is not a calculation. It is the most honest thing in my life. I love you too, Simone admitted. Which terrifies me because I never thought I could feel this way again. Never thought I would want to. They held each other on the balcony, the city humming below them. Inside, Amara slept peacefully, unaware that her mother had just taken a leap into unknown territory. What do we do now? Simone asked eventually. We tell the truth. About everything. To my lawyers, to the court if necessary. We stop hiding and pretending. Julian pulled back to look at her. I will not risk your safety or Amara's for my reputation. We lay it all out there and let the chips fall where they may. Your lawyer will hate that. My lawyer works for me. Not the other way around. Julian's expression was determined. Besides, the truth is actually better for our case. You gave emergency medical care to someone who had been violently attacked. That makes you a good Samaritan, not a co-conspirator. When did you become so optimistic? About 2 minutes ago when you said you love me. Julian smiled. Turns out being loved makes you braver. They went back inside and sat on the couch talking until late into the night. About the past, the present, the uncertain future. About Marcus and Julian's childhood and the paths that had led them both to that rainy night in a hidden room. Do you think Marcus would approve? Julian asked at one point. Of us. Simone considered this carefully. Marcus wanted Amara and me to be happy. To be safe. To have a good life. You give us all of those things. She squeezed Julian's hand. So yes, I think he would approve. I think he would be grateful that someone is looking after his girls. I want to look after you both. If you will let me. Not as charity or obligation but as family. Julian's voice was earnest. I know it is fast. I know we are still figuring things out, but I want to build something real with you. Something lasting. So do I, Simone said. But we have to be smart about it. For Amara's sake. She is already attached to you. If this does not work. It will work, Julian said with quiet confidence. Because we will both make sure it does. Because what we have is worth fighting for. They talked until exhaustion won and Julian left reluctantly, promising to call his lawyer first thing in the morning to arrange a new strategy. One based on truth instead of careful management. Simone watched him go, her heart full of hope and fear in equal measure. Loving Julian meant risking everything again. Meant trusting that good things could last. That happiness was not just a brief moment before the next crisis. But watching him look back at her one more time before the elevator doors closed, she knew it was worth the risk. Some things were worth fighting for. Worth believing in. And love, real love, was one of them. Julian's lawyer, Marcus Stone, was not pleased. You want to do what? He demanded over the phone the next morning. I want to submit a full accounting of what happened that night. Including Simone's role in providing medical care. Julian sat in his office, determined. We have been playing defense. Let's go on offense. Show that I was the victim of attempted murder and that a brave woman helped save my life. That opens her up to cross-examination. To their lawyers twisting her actions into something suspicious. Only if she has something to hide. Which she doesn't. Julian stood firm. Simone rendered aid to someone in medical distress. That is not a crime. It is heroic. Marcus sighed. You are making this personal. That is dangerous. It is personal. And that makes it more important, not less. Julian's voice was calm but unyielding. Set up a meeting with the prosecution. Let's end this the right way. The meeting happened 2 days later. Simone sat in the conference room at Julian's lawyer's office, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Julian sat beside her, his presence steady and reassuring. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Lisa Chen, reviewed their statements carefully. So Miss Harris, you are saying you provided emergency medical care to Mr. Prescott after he arrived at your residence with a stab wound? Yes. I cleaned the wound, applied bandages, kept him stable until his security team arrived. And you did not call the police or emergency services? I was concerned about the men searching the building. Mr. Prescott indicated they were dangerous. I made a judgment call to keep him hidden until safer help could arrive. Simone met the prosecutor's eyes directly. I was protecting my 6-year-old daughter as much as Mr. Prescott. Lisa made notes. And the job at Prescott Technologies? The apartment. I earned those, Simone said firmly. I am good at my job. I work hard. Mr. Prescott offered me a position because he saw my potential, not as payment for silence. The defense will argue otherwise. Let them, Julian interjected. We have documented proof that Simone's salary matches others in her position. That her apartment is standard company housing. That her performance reviews are excellent. There is no evidence of impropriety because there is none. Lisa studied them both. You two are involved romantically, correct? Yes, they said together. That complicates things. No, it clarifies them, Julian corrected. I fell in love with an extraordinary woman who showed me kindness when I needed it most. That does not diminish the crimes committed against me. If anything, it strengthens my resolve to see justice done. Lisa closed her folder. Here is where we stand. The defense's investigation has turned up nothing substantial. No evidence you initiated the confrontation. No witnesses supporting their version of events. Their case is weak and getting weaker. She leaned forward. If Ms. Harris testifies to what happened that night, provides context for your injuries and timeline, it would be helpful. But I need to know she can handle cross-examination. Defense lawyers will try to rattle her. I can handle it, Simone said quietly. I have been through worse than aggressive questions. All right then. We will prepare you for testimony. And Mr. Prescott, I suggest you and Ms. Harris maintain appropriate boundaries until after the trial. No appearance of impropriety. How much longer? Julian asked. Trial date is set for 6 weeks from now. Jury selection starts in 5 weeks. Until then, keep your heads down and stay available. They left the meeting with cautious optimism. In the elevator, Julian took Simone's hand. Thank you for being willing to testify. I know it is not easy. It is the truth. That makes it easier. Simone squeezed his hand. Besides, I want those men held accountable for what they did to you. Still, you are risking a lot. So are you, Simone pointed out. We are in this together, remember? Julian smiled. Together. I like the sound of that. Over the next few weeks, they prepared for trial while trying to maintain some normalcy. Julian helped Amara with a school project about family trees. Simone organized a major charity event for Prescott Technologies. They stole moments together when they could, always aware of watching eyes and potential scrutiny. Then Marcus called with news. The defense wants to negotiate a plea deal. They know their case is falling apart. No trial, reduced charges, but they would plead guilty to assault. Julian felt relief wash over him. What are the terms? They serve time. Probation. Restraining orders. They stay away from you and your business permanently. And they drop any claims about you provoking the attack. What does the prosecutor say? She recommends accepting. Gets you justice without the circus of a trial. Protects Simone from cross-examination. Clean ending. Julian thought about Simone, who had been losing sleep over the prospect of testifying. About Amara, who had been worried about her mother. About the chance to put this behind them completely. Accept the deal, he said. Let's end this. When he told Simone, she nearly cried with relief. It is really over? Really over. They plead guilty next week, then sentencing. But the threat to us is done. Julian pulled her into his arms. We can move forward now. No more looking over our shoulders. That evening they told Amara together. She listened seriously, then asked the important question. Does this mean Julian can come over whenever he wants again? Yes, Julian said, grinning. In fact, I was hoping to come over a lot more. If that is okay with both of you. More than okay, Simone said softly. The plea hearing happened on a Wednesday morning. Julian and Simone attended, sitting in the courtroom as the three men who had tried to kill him stood before a judge and admitted guilt. Accepted responsibility for their actions. Justice, Julian thought. Not perfect but real. Afterward, standing on the courthouse steps, Julian turned to Simone. I have something to ask you. Both of you really? What is it? Move in with me. You and Amara. I have this huge empty penthouse that has never felt like home. But when you are there, when I hear Amara's laugh echoing off the walls and see your things mixed with mine, it feels right. He took her hands. I know it is fast, but we have been building toward this since that first night. Let's stop pretending we are not meant to be together. Simone looked up at him, this man who had stumbled into her life bleeding and desperate and somehow become essential. What about Amara? Her school, her friends? Same school. I will hire a driver if needed. And your friends become our friends. Nothing changes except the address and the fact that we stop living in two separate places when we want to be together anyway. You have thought about this. I have thought about nothing else. Julian's eyes were warm. Say yes, Simone. Let me give you and Amara the home you deserve. Simone thought about the tiny hidden room where this had started. The small apartment that had been such a step up. And now this, a penthouse with a man who loved them, who wanted to build a real family. Yes, she said. Yes, we will move in with you. Julian's smile could have lit the entire city. He picked her up and spun her around right there on the courthouse steps, both of them laughing. Later they picked Amara up from school and told her the news. Her reaction was immediate and enthusiastic. We get to live with Julian? In the big apartment with the amazing view? Really? Really, Simone confirmed. Amara threw her arms around Julian's waist. This is the best day ever. We are going to be a real family. Julian knelt down to her level. We already are a real family, Amara. Have been since the night you saved my life. The address is just a detail. That night, the three of them sat on the balcony of Julian's penthouse, looking out over the city lights. Amara was between them, chattering about which room she wanted and whether she could paint it green. Yes, to your own room. We will discuss the green paint, Julian said, exchanging amused glances with Simone over Amara's head. This was it, Simone thought. The future they had been building toward. Not perfect, not without challenges, but real and good and full of love. From a hidden room to a penthouse. From survival to thriving. From loneliness to family. All because a little girl had chosen kindness. And because sometimes, the people who need each other most find each other in the strangest ways. Hope, Simone decided, was a powerful thing. And she had plenty of it now. Moving day arrived 3 weeks later on a bright Saturday morning. Simone stood in the apartment that had been her first real home in years, boxing up their belongings. It felt strange to be leaving even though she was moving somewhere better. Sad? Julian asked, carrying empty boxes from his car. A little. This place represented starting over. Getting back on our feet. Simone taped up a box of kitchen items. But I am happy too. Excited for what comes next. Amara ran through the rooms, making sure they had not forgotten anything. Her energy was infectious, her joy at the upcoming move making everyone smile. "Mama, can we bring the drawings I hung on my wall?" "Of course, baby. Those are yours." Julian helped carefully remove the artwork Amara had created over the past months. Each piece was precious to her, markers of growth and creativity. "You know," Julian said, studying a particularly colorful drawing of their small family, "we should frame these properly. Display them in the penthouse." "Really?" Amara's eyes went wide. "Really? They are beautiful and they tell our story. Why would we hide them away?" The moving process took most of the day. Friends from Simone's job helped carry boxes. Teresa stopped by with food and well wishes, genuinely happy to see Simone moving forward. Even some neighbors came to say goodbye to Amara, who had charmed everyone in the building. By evening they were settled into Julian's penthouse. It was enormous compared to anything Simone and Amara had known. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. Modern furniture, expensive artwork, a kitchen that could have been featured in magazines. "It is so big," Amara whispered awed. "It is ours," Julian corrected gently. "You're home now. Feel free to make noise, run around, be yourself. I want this place to feel lived in." Over the next few weeks, the penthouse transformed. Amara's drawings went up in the hallway. Simone's books filled the shelves. Family photos appeared on tables. The space that had been sterile and perfect became warm and welcoming. Julian found himself coming home eager instead of reluctant. Hearing Amara's laughter as she played. Smelling dinner cooking as Simone experimented in the kitchen. Finding sticky notes with sweet messages left randomly around the apartment. This was what he had been missing his entire adult life. Not the expensive things or the prestigious address. Just people who cared about him. Who were happy when he walked through the door. Who made even ordinary moments feel special. One evening, about a month after they moved in, Julian's phone rang with news from Marcus. The sentencing came down today. All 3 defendants got prison time. 2 years minimum, 5 years maximum depending on behavior. Plus probation after release and permanent restraining orders. "It is really done," Julian said, feeling a weight lift from his shoulders. "Really done. You can move forward without looking back." Julian shared the news with Simone, who was preparing dinner while Amara did homework at the kitchen counter. Her relief was visible. "Thank goodness. I was worried they would get off with just probation." Justice worked. Slowly, but it worked. Julian wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. "We are free now. To just be a family without any shadows hanging over us." "A family," Simone repeated softly. "I like the sound of that." Amara looked up from her homework. "Does this mean no more bad men? Ever?" "Ever," Julian confirmed. "They cannot come near us. The law protects us now." "Good. I was tired of being worried." Amara returned to her math problems with characteristic focus. That weekend they celebrated properly. Julian took them to an amusement park, something he had never done in his entire life. Simone laughed watching him on roller coasters, his expensive clothes and usual composure completely abandoned in favor of pure fun. Amara dragged them from ride to ride, her energy endless. They ate cotton candy and corn dogs and funnel cakes. They won cheap stuffed animals at carnival games. They took silly photos in a photo booth. It was perfect. Normal. Exactly what Julian had always wanted but never known how to find. Later, after Amara fell asleep in the car on the ride home, Julian carried her up to the penthouse. Tucked her into bed in her bright green room with her new stuffed animals arranged around her. "She is happy," Simone observed, watching from the doorway. "So am I," Julian said. "Happier than I have ever been." They moved to the living room, settling on the couch with glasses of wine. The city lights spread before them like scattered jewels. "I have been thinking," Julian said carefully. "About us. About making this permanent." Simone's heart skipped. "What do you mean?" Julian set down his wine and turned to face her fully. "I mean marriage. I know it is fast by traditional standards. We have only known each other a few months. But every day with you feels right. Every moment with Amara feels like exactly where I am supposed to be." He pulled a small box from his pocket. "I'm not good at this. I have never done this before. But Simone Harris, will you marry me? Will you let me be your partner, your husband, Amara's father for real?" Simone looked at the ring, a simple, elegant diamond that caught the light. Then at Julian's face, hopeful and vulnerable. "My mother used to say that when you know," she said quietly. "She met my father and married him 6 months later. They had 40 years together before he passed. She always said that the timing did not matter as much as the certainty. And are you certain? Julian asked. About you? About us? About building this life together? Simone smiled through sudden tears. Yes, I'm absolutely certain. So yes, Julian Prescott. I will marry you. He slipped the ring on her finger and they kissed like teenagers, giddy with joy and possibility. Can we tell Amara in the morning? Simone asked. I want to see her face when she finds out. Of course. This is her news as much as ours. They stayed up late making plans. A small wedding, nothing extravagant. Just family and close friends. Maybe on the penthouse rooftop with the city as their backdrop. In the spring when everything was blooming and new. I want to adopt Amara, Julian said at one point. Officially. If you are comfortable with that. I want to be her father in every way that matters. She would love that. She already thinks of you as her dad. And I think of her as my daughter. I love her, Simone. Almost as much as I love you. I know you do. I see it in how you look at her. How you protect her. How you remember the little things that matter to her. Simone leaned against him. Marcus would approve. Of you. Of this. He wanted Amara to have a good father. You are that. In the morning they woke Amara with the news. She stared at the ring on Simone's finger, processing. You are getting married? For real? For real, Simone confirmed. Julian is going to be your stepdad. And he wants to adopt you if that is okay with you. Amara looked at Julian seriously. Does that mean you will be my dad? Like officially? If you want me to be, Julian said gently. I would be honored. Amara threw herself into his arms. Yes, I want that. I want us to be a real family with the same last name and everything. Julian held her close, his eyes wet. Then that is what we will be. A real family. Forever. They spent the morning celebrating, making pancakes together and planning the wedding. Amara insisted on being involved in every detail, from the flowers to the music to what everyone would wear. Can I wear green? She asked. It is my favorite color. You can wear whatever you want, Simone promised. This is your day too. Later, after Amara went to play in her room, Julian pulled Simone close. Thank you for saying yes. For trusting me with your heart and your daughter. Thank you for seeing us. For choosing us. For making room in your life for something real. They stood together in the penthouse that had become home, watching the city beyond the windows. Their future spread before them, bright and full of promise. From that terrible rainy night to this moment of pure joy. From hiding in fear to standing in love. From strangers to family. It was more than either of them had dared hope for. But hope, it turned out, was worth holding on to. Even when things seemed impossible. Even when the path was unclear. Because sometimes the best things in life came from the least expected places. From a 6-year-old's courage. From a mother's kindness. From a stranger's desperate need for help. And from the choice, again and again, to believe that love could win. 6 months later, on a perfect spring morning, Simone stood in the penthouse bedroom looking at herself in the mirror. Her wedding dress was simple and elegant, red silk that flowed like water. She had chosen red because it was Amara's suggestion, and because it felt right. Bold. Hopeful. A celebration rather than a formal obligation. You look beautiful, Mama, Amara said from where she sat on the bed, already dressed in her green flower girl dress. Julian is going to cry when he sees you. You think so? I know so. He cried when I showed him my report card. He cries at the happy parts of movies. He is definitely going to cry at his own wedding. Simone laughed, her nerves settling. What about you? How are you feeling about today? Amara thought about this seriously. Happy. And excited. And a little nervous because everyone will be watching. But mostly happy. We are going to be a real family with the same last name. You, me, and Julian. The adoption had gone through 2 months ago. Amara was now legally Amara Harris Prescott. She had insisted on keeping Harris, honoring her father Marcus and adding Prescott. Julian had cried during the court proceeding just as Amara predicted. A knock at the door announced Teresa, who was helping with last-minute preparations. The guests are all here. The officiant is ready. Are you? I am ready, Simone confirmed. They had kept the wedding small. Just close friends, a few family members, key people from Julian's company who had become genuine friends to both of them. 30 people total, gathered on the penthouse rooftop under a canopy of spring flowers. The ceremony was scheduled for sunset, when the city lights would start to glow and the sky would turn colors that matched Simone's dress. Teresa took Amara down first. Then Simone stood at the rooftop entrance taking a deep breath. Through the glass doors, she could see Julian waiting at the altar, wearing a deep blue suit that made his eyes stand out. He looked nervous and happy and so full of love that it made her heart ache. The doors opened. Music played. And Simone walked toward her future. Julian's face when he saw her was everything Amara predicted. His eyes filled with tears, his smile so wide it had to hurt. He watched her come toward him like she was the only person in the world. When she reached him, he whispered, "You are the most beautiful thing I have ever seen." "You are not so bad yourself," Simone whispered back. The officiant began the ceremony. Traditional words about love and commitment and building a life together. But what mattered more were the vows they had written themselves. Julian went first, his voice steady despite the emotion behind it. "Simone, 6 months ago I stumbled into your life at my lowest point. Bleeding, terrified, with nothing to offer but trouble. And you chose kindness. You chose to help, to protect, to believe in the possibility of something good. You gave me not just my life back but a reason to live it. You and Amara showed me what family really means. What love really means. What home really means. I promise to spend every day earning the gift you have given me. To protect you both, to support your dreams, to be the partner and father you deserve. I promise to choose kindness just as you taught me. And I promise to love you, fiercely and completely, for the rest of my life." Simone blinked back tears. Then she spoke her own vows. "Julian, you came into my life when I had stopped believing in miracles. When I thought survival was the best I could hope for. But you showed me that life can be more than just surviving. That hope is not naive. That good things can still happen even after terrible loss. You love my daughter like she is your own. You see me not just as I am but as I could be. You make space for my dreams while building your own. I promise to stand beside you through whatever comes. To believe in us even when things get hard. To raise our daughter together with love and wisdom. To build a home where kindness always leads. And I promise to love you completely and forever for all the days we have." They exchanged rings. Simple gold bands that matched. The officiant pronounced them married. Julian kissed Simone as their friends and family cheered. Amara, standing beside them as their flower girl, whispered loudly, "I told you he would cry." The reception was held right there on the rooftop. Simple food, good music, people who genuinely cared about their happiness. Julian's business associates mingled with Simone's friends from the community center. Teresa told embarrassing stories about Simone's waitressing days. Julian's lawyer Marcus gave a surprisingly heartfelt toast about finding love in unexpected places. But the best moment came when Julian took the microphone for his own speech. Most of you know the abbreviated version of how Simone and I met. A chance encounter, a difficult situation, a happy ending. But what you might not know is how much that night changed everything. I was successful before. Rich, respected. But I was also lonely. Isolated. Going through the motions of a life without actually living. He found Simone in the crowd and smiled. Then this incredible woman and her remarkable daughter showed me what really matters. Not money or status or power. But connection. Kindness. Love. They saved my life in every way that matters. And I get to spend the rest of my life being grateful for that." He turned to Amara, who was eating cake with her friends from school. "And Amara, thank you for being brave that night. For putting your finger to your lips and protecting a stranger. For teaching me about courage and kindness and seeing the best in people. I am so proud to be your dad." Amara beamed at him, cake frosting on her face. The party continued into the night. Dancing under string lights. Laughter and joy and celebration. It was perfect in its simplicity, in its focus on what truly mattered. Later, after most guests had left and Amara had fallen asleep on a couch inside, Julian and Simone stood at the rooftop edge looking out over the city. "So this is forever now," Simone said, leaning against him. "Forever," Julian agreed. "Are you scared?" "A little. But also sure. More sure than I have been about anything in a long time." She turned to face him. "We are really doing this. Building a life together. Raising Amara. Being a family. The best family," Julian said. "The kind built on choice and love instead of just obligation." "What happens next? After the honeymoon, after we settle into normal life?" "We keep doing what we have been doing. We work jobs we care about. We raise an amazing kid. We have dinners together and movie nights and arguments about whose turn it is to do dishes." Julian smiled. "We have a beautifully ordinary life because ordinary with the right people is actually extraordinary." Simone thought about this. About how far they had all come. From that hidden room to this rooftop. From fear to hope. From survival to thriving. "I love you," she said simply. "I love you too. Both of you." more than I knew it was possible to love anything. They stood together watching the city lights, husband and wife now, partners in everything that came next. Inside, Amara stirred and called out sleepily. Mama? Julian? Where are you? They went to her together, both kneeling beside the couch. Right here, baby. We are right here. Good. I had a dream we were a family and it was so nice. Amara's eyes were already closing again. Oh wait. That is real now. We are really a family. Really and truly, Julian confirmed, stroking her hair gently. Forever, Simone added. Forever, Amara murmured and drifted back to sleep with a smile on her face. Julian and Simone looked at each other over their sleeping daughter. Their daughter. Their family. No more hiding. No more fear. No more just surviving. This was living. This was love. This was home. And it had all started with a little girl's courage on a rainy night. With a mother's choice to help despite the risk. With a stranger's desperate need for kindness. Sometimes the best things in life came from the darkest moments. Sometimes hope won out over fear. Sometimes choosing to help one person changed everything. As they carried Amara to bed and settled into their first night as a married couple, Simone thought about all the paths that had led them here. All the choices, good and bad. All the loss and pain and struggle. It had been worth it. Every difficult moment. Every scared night. Every uncertain step forward. Because it had led to this. To love. To family. To a future bright with possibility. And that, Simone thought as she fell asleep in Julian's arms, was the greatest gift of all. The end was really just the beginning. And their beginning looked absolutely beautiful.